Welcome back everyone. Hope you have a good break and get refreshed. We are now kickstart our afternoon section. Our first speaker is Yusuke Kajiyama from MySQL. Mr. Kajiyama is an open source specialist with over 10 years experience in systems design using MySQL and open source solutions. He originally joined MySQL AB and is currently managing MySQL sales consultant team of Asia Pacific region at Oracle.
Today, Mr. Kajiyama will share with us the new features in MySQL 8.0 development milestone release, including the new transactional data dictionary, SQL roles, new character sets and collations, and much more.
MySQL is the world's most popular OS database with its proven performance, reliability, and ease of use. MySQL has become the leading database choice for web-based applications used by high-profile web properties like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and as well Yahoo, and many more. In addition, it is an extremely popular choice as an embedded database distributed by 3,000 ISVs and OEMs to organizations in need of an open source, ASIC-compliant transactional database delivering real-time in-memory performance and 99.999% availability. Oracle offers MySQL cluster.
MySQL is our silver sponsor of this year's HSOS conference, so please welcome Kajiyama-san.
As I mentioned earlier on the screen, here's a QR code and a URL or name of the MySQL user group in Hong Kong. We launched this group years ago. We're having lots of interesting conversation. My colleague Ivermark is the ambassador to the community as well. He's just running in front of you. Okay. Yeah. So tomorrow he will present deliver presentation about high availability, brand new feature of in MySQL we call InnoDB cluster or group replication. So today I'd like to introduce about what's new in the MySQL 8.0. By the way, how many of you are already using MySQL at this moment? Thank you. Thank you. One hands. Great. How many of you are using actually the MySQL 5.7, which is the newest version of MySQL? Okay, great. Something. Then today's newest major version of MySQL is version number 5.7, and we decided to make the next version, major version, as a MySQL 8.0. It's not a huge jump. 5.7, previous version, major version was 5.6, previous one was 5.5. So it's supposed to be 5.8, but we decided to skip all the way to version 8.0. But I will explain why we decided to make this version number was a huge leap of the 5.7 to 8.0. By the way, my name is Yusuke Kajiyama, as introduced. I'm based in Tokyo, Japan, but I'm traveling entire Asia Pacific region. And usually we are coming to customers, introducing new features, how to use MySQL, but also it's important for us to have the communication with community. So please let us know your feedback on the new features upcoming in the MySQL 8.0. Your feedback is really important to make the right products for the community. And also, beyond MySQL 8.0, we already started brief discussion though, but the future version beyond MySQL 8.0 as well. So, by the way, this content may include some feature announcement which we may not be able to make it. So please do not take it for the investment purpose, etc. There's some most common slide for the all Oracle presentation areas. Okay, so let's move on to the main contents. So as of today, we are releasing MySQL Server version 5.7, which is the generally available version, which is today's major version of 5.7. We made a huge improvement in performance in some use case MySQL 5.7 shows 3 times faster than previous versions. But also, we are adding number of new features. I will come back to some of new features in later slides as well. Then, last December and this April, we made an announcement of the releasing new features. One is named the MySQL Group Replication. Then, this April, we announced the MySQL InnoDB cluster. InnoDB cluster is designed for the requirements of high availability. Nearly everyone, I'd say 100% of database requires high availability. So that's a reason behind it. We created a product named the InnoDB cluster. It comes with group replication and the tools around it. Group replication is based on the technology of MySQL replication, which has long history in the development of MySQL. It started from, so it has a history of more than 15 years of development in replication. Then we made multi-master replication configuration. We name it MySQL's group replication. So with group replication, you can create a master-master replication configuration. But we also need to provide one more thing on top of group replication, which is router, which handles the routing from your application to MySQL servers. Because all servers are acting as a master server, application should choose which master to talk. But this router will take care of all those traffic control. The one more tool on the side is the MySQL shell. MySQL shell is an administration tool. Originally, it was designed for the MySQL document store. I believe I talked on this stage last year. MySQL document store is to make MySQL our document database. That project is still going on, but MySQL shell is a client for those MySQL document store. You can talk with MySQL without using SQL statements, and the data format will be JSON document. But that's the original idea. And we found features of MySQL shell designed for document store is useful to manage this multi-master, bit more complicated configuration. So fewer commands, you can configure this multi-master replication environment, and we can tell MySQL router about topology of the group replication behind the scene. So from application point of view, all you have to talk with is MySQL router, and it's kind of a stateless component. It always talks with group replication servers, and all topology information is stored in the group replication side. More details on group replication, if you're interested, I'm sure you're interested. Tomorrow, we are having the session by Ivan. Should be late afternoon, should be like 4 p.m., from 4 p.m. maybe? Yeah, so you can learn more details about this product. Again, this product is already in the state of GA, generally available, so you can use this one in production from now. And we already have customers running production environment with this InnoDB cluster. So let's move on to the next topic. But where MySQL is, we are still supporting tons of major websites in the world, not limited to US companies. A lot of it in the Greater China region, Asian countries, but also nearly everywhere. But one more thing we need to remember, so MySQL is really huge in web, including GitHub is also heavily running MySQL. Tons of applications, including Uber, is for running applications on mobile. We see the evolution, people are using more technology, but now looking down the screen all the way down. This is an evolution of the human. But look back to the things behind, things much earlier. We did not have much information. We didn't care about the location, but to use Uber, it's mandatory. You need to tell your location, and server-side application must care about the physical location of yours. Unicode. It wasn't already common in the early days when MySQL became more popular, or when MySQL came to the market in 1995. And regarding to API, we are talking about SOAP or XML's web service, but not anymore. That's totally kind of ancient technology. And one more thing is security, especially around MySQL. People do not care or do not have to care much about, have to care much about MySQL's security, but nowadays it's totally different. So what we have done in MySQL 5.7? First of all, regarding to GIS or Geographical Information Systems, we are adding more and more functions, and most importantly, we integrated the library from Boost community named the Boost Geometry as integrated with MySQL 5.7, and MySQL team actually hires dedicated engineers contributing to the community based on the things we learned from MySQL back into the Boost Geometry, those libraries. Unicode. We didn't do much actually in MySQL 5.7. I will talk about more things in next slide. Rather than using XML web service, nowadays using JSON as the most common text format to communicate between web applications or applications. So what we have done in MySQL 5.7? MySQL 5.7 do support JSON data type as a new data type of MySQL. JSON data type is based on the blog of MySQL, and we added some features to referring the elements inside of the JSON document, and we are providing we created a number of functions, SQL functions, to retrieve data or searching data inside of JSON documents. Together with the feature of MySQL 5.7 named generated column, we can create new virtual column based on the function based on the functions or calculation, or virtual, or you can actually store the results of those functions. Then, if you use the JSON function against JSON document to retrieving some data based on some elements, whatever, and you can create generated column which stores the results, or it's a virtual column maybe. You still it's based on the calculation all the time when you're reading, but you can virtually store the data inside of JSON document into certain column. The most important thing is you can create index on that generated column as well. So virtually, you can create index inside of the document, JSON document, and you can have the more sufficient access to the JSON data itself. The last thing, MySQL 5.7, we spent so much time to improve security. The most important keyword for us was secure by default. In previous versions of MySQL, including MySQL 5.6, once you installed, root user MySQL didn't have any password. The password stays there forever if you want, and you don't have to change it. But now 5.7, it comes with a password policy. You can create policy for password. It can expire depending on configuration. Root user, but right after installation, most of the installation most of the installation will have the default password for root user and request to change the password on the first login. One more thing from the third one from the bottom is encryption. We now support data encryption in MySQL 5.7, which is transparent data encryption. Applications do not have to care about whether to be encrypted or not. It's automatically encrypted. Then let's talk about MySQL 8. The number of things we have done in these area as well. Starting with GIS, come back to GIS. We now recognize more geography. So the world is not flat. We are living on the planet, and MySQL now cares about spatial reference system, depending on where to be the origin of those GIS information, and we can switch those information. Unicode, that matters to the all MySQL users in the world, and especially in the world where people are using the multi-byte characters, including Hong Kong, same for same in Japan, China, Korea, those countries using multi-byte characters. Now, UTF-8 MB4, which is a Unicode, is a default character set of MySQL. So even if you are developing application which is only single byte characters only, please be careful behavior of MySQL can be changed because of this. This Unicode is based on Unicode 9.0, and we are adding more new collections into MySQL 8.0. Next will be the JSON. We're adding more and more function to manipulate JSON data, and it's not written here as well. We're planning to implement in-place update, which means as of today 5.7, if you want to change certain part of the JSON document, you still need to refresh entire JSON document. That's today's update of corporate behavior. But together with improvement of binlog data type in MySQL 8.0, now if you want to update certain part of the JSON document, you don't have to refresh entire JSON document. MySQL will replace only the bytes which need to be replaced, which will have a much faster performance in the changing record in the JSON document. The last week, security. I will show more details in later slides, but we are adding role, more encryption, and so on. But let's review for the multi-byte. So this is a performance comparison between MySQL 8.0 and 5.7 when you are using UTF-8 MV4. Because UTF-8 MV4 multi-byte control requires a lot of behavior beyond manipulating data in ASCII data type. By default, MySQL Latin 1, by the way. Just upgrading to 8.0, you get a huge performance improvement when you are using multi-byte characters, especially with MySQL as UTF-8 MV4. Again, this is an important thing for the old MySQL users because default character set will be updated from Latin 1, which is an ASCII-based character set, to Unicode-based UTF-8 MV4. But this is not only the reason we made a version of MySQL jumping from 5.7 to 8.0. This is one of the major reasons we decided to jump MySQL Server's version number from 5.7 to 8.0. First, we have decided to remove all flat file-based system data management. Because MySQL is managing a lot of metadata, like a table structure in .frm file. When you created a new trigger, it creates both TRG and TLN file. When you have partitions on the table, creates PAL files, and so on. We also decided non-transactional storage engine, MyISAM, is not mandatory anymore. It's still there, but you don't have to use it anymore. But still, in 5.7, some data are stored in the MyISAM base table. Then we decided there will be huge change in how to managing system data. We must tell all MySQL users that's a different way of managing MySQL. And I would say this is the largest change in the architecture of MySQL in the history of MySQL. So it's better for us to say, no, 5.7, next to be 5.8, no, it's a big jump. But why 5.7 to 8? Well, if you're familiar with PHP, 6 means not good. I'm just kidding. Well, actually MySQL had a version number 6.0 before. If you search, MySQL has a MySQL 6.0.4 even, when we were in some microsystems. But we decided to terminate the project, and we rather release 5.1. And MySQL 7 version number 7 is used in another product named MySQL cluster. So it would be kind of confusing if we announce MySQL 7.0 or whatever, which is already used in MySQL cluster with another server product. So we decided to, okay, let's jump over to the 6, 7, and come to 8. And then, yeah, it's better to see the kind of a similarity from 5.7, 5.8, removing 5 and 8 looks good number. And 8 is always good number for our culture, including Japan as well. Anyways, so this is one of the major reasons. But let's look back at the architecture diagram again. This is today's MySQL. Flat files managing tables, table structure, partitions, triggers, some database schemas configuration, like some metadata regarding to database. System stables, users, all privileges are stored in the MyISAM storage engine tables. And InnoDB storage engine has a dedicated system stable to manage the metadata of InnoDB storage engine itself. This is how it looks like. Just a single or sets of tables, all using InnoDB storage engine. And now it's more simplified. It's much faster to obtain a metadata information from information schema. When you're using MySQL, you want to know the metadata of MySQL, like a list of all the columns in the MySQL, whatever. You may use, or you usually use, schema named information schema. But in MySQL 5.7 or earlier versions, sometimes it takes a long time to retrieve information from information schema, largely because you need to fetch some information from front file, you may fetch some information from MyISAM tables or InnoDB tables. And creating temporary table in between and shuffling all the way, as a result, takes a long time in many cases. But with 8.0, everything in a InnoDB table will be really faster to retrieving data from information schema. And it makes, I'm sure that makes it much easier to operate MySQL itself. But also, this presentation tells you one more really important information, which I have not yet mentioned. In the title, data dictionary, which is all representative metadata, will be transactional. In other words, DDLs to be all transactional. So you can roll back if you don't like those DDLs before committing. So that's a huge change in the history of MySQL again. It's still halfway done. In today's MySQL 8.0.1, most operations are atomic, but not yet fully transactional. We're on the way to make everything to be truly transactional. So let's move on to other topics. There are tons of improvements we have done in MySQL 8.0 already, and a number of things we are planning to do. So from this presentation, I'm gonna skip now, or really quickly go to the other topics. But starting with role. Finally, MySQL do have the security role. Role is actually implemented in nearly all other major LDBMS. But MySQL also has a role which groups people's privileges, and you can control or access privileges much easier than before. That's already implemented in MySQL 8.0.1, so you can already try. And MySQL can output those like a hierarchy or like a layers of those privileges out into the graph ML. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with this graph ML. But graph ML is a format of the information, creating the graph of the like a hierarchical diagrams. You have a tool and you read it. This is graph ML data. Outputs nice structure telling you where to be the parent and gets kind of the layers of the information, including MySQL's security role. If you are using MySQL role plus this graph ML outputs. Next to be rigid security again. MySQL 5.7 now automatically encrypts your data itself, but not yet redo log or undo log. So it's halfway. We are ready for the securing your data itself, but quite often undo log and redo log also contains critical information, especially you are updating record. Yes, it's update or insert. We want to protect the information of insert itself or update itself. Now available in MySQL 8.0, and you can try it out and give us feedback how it works, how do you like. We are preparing the first encryption implementation into 8.0 to the future version of 8.0. To help developers, we are adding new SQL functions. First one is CTE, Common Table Expression, or recursive CTE as well. And the window function finally came to MySQL, and some other topics. I refer some examples. CTE is really important to creating hierarchical information. So here's one table, contains a ID and a name of the employees, as well as a manager's ID number. And inserting some record like this. And the first example, like a first person employee number 333, he must be CEO because no reporting to anyone. Then John is reporting this first person, Yasmina. Then this query starting with recursive. With recursive, will repeat queries until its end. The first portion is a seed query, creating some information, fetching record from the table, inference table, and it will do union with the following foreign table, and this seed query will be referred as an MEXT. Second query on the bottom, it has an MEXT as well. So first query will creates a temporary table internally, and it will join or manipulate against that table till we run out all information. This is really critical to create a handling the hierarchical information. The first step is fetches the information of Yasmina, and second query will look for the employees who is reporting to this ID number 333. And we found the two people, John and Tarek. And the next query, again, the bottom portion will repeat against the tables created a white portion. And we got two people, Pedro and Aduri, and do it again and again until no more data left in the original table, employees table. So this is how one of the examples. It's really useful to use a CTE, including especially for the recursive CTE, common table expression. Next slide, which is not yet ready, it's soon to be ready to you as well, is window function. Window function creates a window, so the certain portion will be grouped and running some operations, like in this case, summary of the only summaries per department. We can create with this window function. That's a newly coming into MySQL 8.0. If you're creating application like a reservation system, especially like a seat reservation of the Sierra or whatever, sometimes you want to lock only rows which is not yet locked. Because if someone was locking some seat and the other transaction want to take a lock against the same seat, second transaction must be wait until first lock to be unlocked. But we can now skip those locked columns, or you can immediately get the error without waiting any. If you try to catch some seats, seat rows 12, it'll be immediately, if someone is blocking the that row, or the particular seat in the row, instantly get the error. So that's a kind of new way to avoiding lock waits. But you need to be really careful. These are not default behavior. Default behavior is still the same, just waiting someone else to unlock your row as well. Other new features. Parser became the optimizer became much smarter. For example, if all data is still sitting in disk, you may not use index. Just skip index and just fetching all the data to the sequential scan from disk would be faster than do the random access using index plus disk, or vice versa. That kind of decision can be made more smarter by the new optimizer. Performance schema, which stores performance information, now have more additional information like a log. Today we are searching through information schema, but everything pushed into the performance schema. Errors of SQL errors will be stored into the performance schema. You can retrieve right away. And performance of the performance accessing speed, latency against performance schema became much faster than 5.7. There are so many additional new features. Invisible index. You can temporarily turn off index without dropping. You want to test the performance of without index or with index. You can control by this invisible feature. You just type auto table or table name index is invisible. You can turn off the index for a while for the select only. Still updates the statistics of index as well. Persistent configuration. Now you can type set command with persistent option. You can persistent all configuration by SQL statements, because some cloud services does not allow you to touch the configuration file itself, but you want to change configuration in many cases. Oh, by the way, Oracle Cloud, which has a MySQL service, which allow you to access all the way down to the OS, so you can control configuration file without this command. But we also understand other cloud services does not allow you to touch it. So now with this command, of course it's enabled, but you can persistent all configurations typed through a set command, set persistence command. But this is not all. It looks like one of the worst example of presentation. Too many characters, so tiny characters. Yes, this is still the list, part of the list of the MySQL 8.0 updates. If you're interested, please visit our booth, or we are still open to answer your questions. Or this place is this. I'm planning to share my presentation through this user group, Facebook, and also event through organizers. I'm not sure how you can reach to the access. I'm also planning to upload to the SlideShare as well. So this is pretty much about my presentation for now. I want to take any questions. Any questions? Any questions? I'll be at the booth anyways, if you're not asking a question now. Okay, sure, please.
When is the expected release date?
Good question. The question is, when is the expected release date of MySQL 8.0? At this moment, we cannot promise any exact date at this moment. We're expecting not within this year, but hopefully early next year. But we have not done the official announcement yet. Once we release the release candidate version, you will see more details.
Can I just ask a
Sure.
extra question? You know, like on the AWS side, because I mean, my company uses AWS, but do you guys work with them? AWS also is supporting MySQL, and I assume you guys are probably also working with them on like various things. Would AWS be? Would you be? Sorry, my question I guess is for you have DynamoDB. Sorry, not DynamoDB. For Aurora, you know AWS
Okay.
Aurora.
Right.
Right now it's only supporting MySQL 5.6, which is kind of like slow. And I guess they're probably working with like your people as well. Like, do you know if there's going to be like more communication in terms of that side and supporting MySQL 8.0? Yeah. I don't know if that's a good question to ask you, but
It is. No problem. Yeah, so the question is, so how, like, AWS team and MySQL team are working each other? The short answer is not really we're working together. They're using MySQL as a community people, one of the community people, and we are expecting them to provide us more feedbacks to us. But unfortunately, that's not really happening yet. It's a kind of minimal, I'd say. I shouldn't say zero, but it's a kind of minimal. And MySQL team is like working with everyone, so not to the specific customers at all. So we don't have much ideas when AWS took up 8.0 or even like 5.7. We totally have no idea. Thank you. Can I have this one? Thank you. That's our. This one is like a travel bag with MySQL logo. It seems like I'm pretty much running out of my time.
one more question, right?
Yeah, one more question.
So, is there like steps or like tutorial to migrate DB from 5.6 or 5.7 to 8.0?
That's really good question. Question was, is there any tutorials or other reference manual to upgrading from 5.6 or 5.7 to 8.0? Answer is yes, we will. We are planning to have the two things at a time. One is we are planning the tutorials or reference manual fully documented for the older version of MySQL to 8.0. One more thing is we are planning to create the utilities, which is a truly automated upgrade from the older version, not only 5.7 but also 5.6, jumping to 8.0. So we are having a dedicated development team in MySQL team for the upgraded project. Yes.
Backward dependency on the OS side with 8 versus 5.7.
So
The backward dependency on the OS side, do you need to upgrade the OS for any of these new features, or can you use existing OS?
the operating system?
Yeah.
So question is, do you need to upgrade the operating system to use 5.6, 5.7, or 8.0? Answer is, yeah, most likely yes, because we are supporting a certain version of glibc and some libraries. So we are depending on. And we are always announcing which OS versions, distributions to be supported in which version of MySQL. And we cannot commit, promise, but we try to support a major version of the major distributions of today's and one version older. Two generations older OS distribution versions, we may not. But that's the kind of the baseline we are trying to. I hope I was answering your question. Thank you. So that's, I guess I'm running down. If you have a further question, please ask Bruce, or again, this one. Please join our user group. Again, if you joined, let me know. I'll be at the booth. You tell me you joined the group in the presentation. I give you to the certificate of the membership. Thank you very much. All right, tomorrow or whatever, 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
Yep, there's a session by Michael Guyman. Please join his session as well. Thank you very much.